Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel again. In the previous session, we understood what a map reduce is and how the map, shuffle and reduce works. Now it's time to move one step ahead and understand what do we mean by Apache Hadoop, right? So Apache Hadoop is a open source framework, or you can call it as an open source ecosystem. This is used to store and process. Here, this gives an option to store your data as well, right? And it is used to store and process very large amount of data across many machines. I mean, the basic idea remains the same. We have a huge data and we have many machines, and this data is segregated across the machines and the work goes parallelly, right? The major thing in Hadoop is this gives you an option to store your data as well, store and process. So think that Hadoop is a huge factory and MapReduce is just one machine. So it means that inside Hadoop ecosystem, we are using the aspect of MapReduce. So because Hadoop is a huge ecosystem and MapReduce is one of the part of Hadoop ecosystem. So MapReduce is a programming model and Hadoop is a framework that implements the MapReduce along with storage and resource management. Yes, so storage is the integral part of Apache Hadoop. Okay, so that's a big understanding of Hadoop. We will go to the blackboard and we will derive an example, and then you will come to know how the things works exactly. So the important part here is the Hadoop ecosystem components. So the Hadoop has four components. One is HDFS, that is Hadoop distributed file system, and we have yarn, yet another resource negotiator. We have MapReduce. We have already gone through the aspects of MapReduce, and we have Hadoop common. So let's see how every component works. So basically we are covering, in this video we are covering only Hadoop distributed file system because this is the foundation for Google Cloud Dataproc service. So yarn and Hadoop, sorry, MapReduce we have already discussed. So the aspects of this yarn and Hadoop common, we will take it forward. Like there are some topics which has to be covered and you yourself will come to know about yarn and Hadoop common. So we will cover the most critical and most important aspect, that is Hadoop distributed file system. Okay, so understanding this principle is very important when we move our sessions on the Google Cloud's Dataproc. So let's go to the next slide and see what is HDFS. So the HDFS is Hadoop distributed file system. Basically, it's a storage. In a generic term, we can call this as the storage part. So this is the storage system of Hadoop, and then this store huge amount of data. How it stores is very interesting. It splits the data across many computers, many in the sense available computers inside the cluster, instead of keeping it on one machine. We'll see this when we move to the blackboard in just a couple of seconds. So basically your data is shared across the machine in a cluster, right? So the major components of HDFS are the master node. You just keep a note on this, worker node and secondary name node. What master node does, stores metadata like file name and block location. Just good to have, just remember this point. Worker node, actually data is stored here. So how it stores the data, we will see. Let's move to the blackboard and understand the working principle of HDFS. Perfect. Now let's assume we have a Hadoop cluster, right? We have this Hadoop ecosystem, and then we have the Hadoop cluster. Okay, so in a cluster, let's say we have three workers or three nodes or three VMs or three computers, all are same, right? And in this Hadoop ecosystem, we have HDFS as the storage location. So there is some path like HTTP colon followed by the respective path, whatever. Okay. And your input data is orders.csv. Okay. And this input data carries the order information of the users. Right. Assume that the size of the order is somewhere around 1 GB. Just assume, okay? The size of this input data is somewhere around 1 GB, nearly 1 GB, or you can give any figure, that doesn't matter. And this order extract contains the order number, amount, username, phone number, right? The date, time, and all such details. Let's assume like this. So what we'll do first, if I upload this file to HDFS, right? I will always upload this file to HDFS in Hadoop ecosystem. What this does is HDFS splits this data into a equal size of 128 MB files. A huge file is broken down into the chunks of 128 MB files. So each file we can call it as blocks. Okay. Now we have 128 MB is the standard size and we have 1 GB. So usually if you say around 1000 MB divided by 128 MB, this will come across around 8 blocks. Okay, so we have around 8 blocks of data here. Okay, so now what I will do, instead of 1 GB, for our understanding, let me reduce that file. I will also tell you what happens if the size is more. Okay, so let's make this as around 350 MB file, just for our understanding. Okay, and what HDFS does is this will cut the huge files into chunks of 128 MB each. Okay, so now 350 divided by 128 is equal to, you will get a chunk of, we will get three small files, and these three small files are called blocks. Okay, so 128 is the standard. The Hadoop divides the file, not divides with respect to number of rows or columns, it divides with respect to this size of that file, right? And I got the three blocks. Once I got the three blocks, this HDFS divides the data into the available workers. So one block will come here, one block will come here, and one block will be assigned to worker A, worker B, and worker C. So the file is split into 128 MB each, and this is assigned to the available workers. So that's how the sharing of the data, the input data, happens in Hadoop ecosystem. I repeat, we have a Hadoop ecosystem and we have the HDFS system. Once we upload any file to HDFS, this is broken down into a block of 128 MB each, and each block is shared across different workers. So we have three blocks and we have three available resources. Assume that what if we have 9 blocks? That time what happens is, first three will assign to these blocks. This will, HDFS will wait until the job finish, right? Next slot again three will be assigned to these blocks. Same like a batch wise, guys, right? So this is how this HDFS works. All right. So there is one more factor called replication factor. Okay. Now at a very high level, assume that if the data is corrupted, block 1 is corrupted, okay, by any chance, then usually this guy will not work, because he will not get the data, because the data in block 1 is corrupted. At this time, with the replication factor, we can have a backup of the blocks. Okay, no need to go in depth here right now, but just understand, with replication factors we can have the backup of the blocks or the data when there is any chance of failure or when the failures happens, right? So this is how the HDFS works. So the final and key takeaway here is HDFS is for storage. Data is stored in blocks. Blocks are distributed and replicated across the workers, and then processing is done later using MapReduce. Now what happens, if you refer to my previous video, I have explained how MapReduce works, but this scene happens before the MapReduce working, right? So in the MapReduce video, I have seen that map will just segregate with respect to key value. Okay, but to bring the data to this MapReduce, to this worker, this scene takes place. Make sense? So I just request you to go back and refer to the working of MapReduce and again come back here. Then you will get 100% idea from end to end. When something is uploaded to HDFS, it got divided into blocks, and each worker received that blocks, and then map process happens, then shuffle happens, and then reduce happens. So that's all about working of starting from uploading the input data and getting the final results through many phases like HDFS, map, shuffle, reduce, and so on. So that's all from this video. I hope this is pretty much clear. For beginners, I think this is not that easy to understand at the first go, but gradually we will definitely pick up. Thanks for watching, and let me see what we have in the next session. Okay, so in the next session, we are going to discuss what is Apache Spark and what is Apache Beam and what is Apache Kafka. So here we are not going to see any concept. We are just noting down the points, because these are just points you must remember before jumping into the Google Cloud. Yes. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day and see you soon in the next session.